Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met his Qatari counterpart in Tehran for talks on the strategic Strait of Hormuz as the U.S. naval blockade continues to squeeze oil supplies to Iran amid a domestic shortfall. The visit by Qatar's Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Thani, who is also the country's foreign minister, it follows a week of intense diplomacy in Iran involving separate meetings with Oman's top diplomat and senior Pakistani officials seeking ways to end the West Asia war and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. It also comes as Washington threatens wider secondary sanctions against countries, banks and companies that continue doing business with Iran as part of a broader campaign it has called economic asphyxiation. A Gulf neighbor of Iran and a U.S. ally, Qatar has served as a back-channel negotiator for the warring parties and played a direct role in securing a June ceasefire that briefly led to a cessation of hostilities. In the meantime, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Mohsen Rezai, has said that Iran is preparing a list of conditions for reopening the Strait of Hormuz after mediators asked Tehran to set them out, adding that one of the conditions is to end the regional war. Rezai said Iran had agreed with Oman on a shipping corridor through the strait, with parts of the route in Omani waters and parts in Iranian waters. He went on to say that ships would use a designated central channel if the U.S. met Iran's conditions. Amid this, maritime shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has slowed to a near standstill. The U.S. Central Command said that as of August 27, it redirected 75 commercial vessels, disabled 3 and boarded 2 to ensure compliance. The U.S. military is also preparing to deploy new aircraft carrier in West Asia to relieve USS George Washington, which arrived in the West Asia last week, replacing the USS Abraham Lincoln. According to the U.S. Naval Institute, USS Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group is expected to sail from San Diego on the U.S. West Coast in the coming weeks for a more than 7-month deployment. Meanwhile, USS Abraham Lincoln, marred by reports of grim conditions and suicide attempts by sailors, will make a stop in Thailand next week after its grueling deployment in West Asia. A report by U.S. Naval Institute quoted Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Daryl Caudle as saying that the Navy is trying to ease pressure on sailors and their families. On Thursday, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed concern that new measures or inflammatory rhetoric could escalate tensions linked to the Iran crisis. He also urged all sides to pursue a political solution. Speaking on behalf of Guterres, UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric confirmed that UN had received a letter from Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi.
Yes, the letter has been received. It has been distributed to Security Council and General Assembly as requested to by the authorities. You know, I think the assessment is that this conflict, even in somewhat of a frozen kinetic phase, continues to do a lot of harm to the region, continues to do a lot of harm to the global economy. I think the Secretary General is concerned about any new measures, any additional rhetoric that we see that could lead to an escalation.